Alright, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So you've really been enjoying my Digimon Story Time Stranger tips and tricks videos. I've already put together 2, each of which go over 10 tips and tricks for a total of 20. We're going to be going over another 10, totaling our count to 30. Some of these are going to be topics I've discussed in previous videos, put into more of a condensed format. I will leave any relevant links to videos that will expand upon some of these in the description, but consider these tips and tricks to be more for mid and late game players, as there are some exploits that will only be able to be done once you've progressed significantly through the game. We will have some beginner tips mixed in as well, but make sure to check out the other tips and tricks guide for a ton of beginner tips. Anyways, we're going to be talking about when you should be de-digivolving, how to get some free armor Digimon, how to get free XP while being completely AFK. We're going to be talking about how to get infinite Digimon, another cheese method in order to get the Olympus 12 for free, basically, and more. So as per the usual, make sure to sit back, relax, subscribe for more Digimon and monster taming videos, and let's dive in. Alright, so we're going to start things off with a pretty cheeky way in order to get XP while you're not even playing the game. Now, this isn't like the fastest experience points boosting method, but you could literally do it while you're sleeping, which is why I think it's noteworthy. So if you go to the Heat Cosmic area, I'm going to be using the Heat area because the Mud Frigimon give more XP. You could basically progress towards the end where there are a bunch of Mud Frigimon basically rolling towards you. If you simply stop your character in the middle of the hill, they'll just keep rolling at you forever. And you could just turn animations all the way up and just leave your game and get XP indefinitely. Again, it's not the fastest way, but considering you could literally sleep or go to work and let this work its magic for you, it's definitely something to keep in mind if you want to get some XP while you're not actually playing. Another pretty interesting tip that you guys might not know is if you're trying to complete your field guide, you don't actually have to obtain the fusion Digimon. You can simply have the Digimon perform mid-battle fusion, which if you want more information on, check out my special Digivolution guide linked below. But that'll actually fill them out in the field guide. So if you want a Digimon that's only available through this method, that's a really easy way to just get it without having to shift both personalities. Just keep in mind one of your Digimon's personalities has to match the fusion requirements in question. An earlier game tip that I did make a video about already is that if you've completed the quest involving Pegasusmon needing you to get various armored eggs for him so he could digivolve Digimon in the street, you can actually talk to all of these Digimon who are in the front square area of Central Town 8 years ago, and they will join your team. So you won't even need prerequisites to get them. You'll just get a bunch of free level 20 Digimon. So something to grab if you're still early on in the game and want some armor Digimon for your playthrough without having to get their pre-evolutions. Okay, so this next tip has to do with the Digifarm, and a lot of you guys might not know if you haven't really been talking to the Zudomon NPC that sells you farm equipment, but the C-level training items actually do not shift your personality. So if you want to focus specifically on grinding out a certain stat, you can buy these items and use them on your Digimon without having to worry about your personality changing if you're already in an optimal position. All of the other ones do, so make sure you grab these. They do take like 45 minutes to complete training, even if you have all skills unlocked, but you could easily bypass this with money, so definitely make sure to grab them. They're going to be integral for preparing for New Game Plus with the Mega and Mega Plus difficulties. This next tip actually has to do with a video I released recently regarding getting infinite Digimon. So basically, if you want to get an infinite pool of Digimon in order to either load them up or change them into other Digimon or whatever, if you have a Digimon that is the Digivolution of a fusion Digimon, for example, Goldramon, who can de-digivolve into Shakuamon, you can actually de-digivolve that fusion Digimon whom you never even created in the first place to receive an extra Digimon that was part of the fusion combination. In the video, I showed you how to get Angemon up to Goldramon without even having to level him up, then de-digivolving him back into Angemon, which gives you a free Ankylomon, and then doing that loop in repeat. This is a great exploit for if you want to gain a bunch of XP or bonus stats without really having to do any work. This next tip has to do with an NPC that you might not know exists. So basically, and spoiler warning, there is a certain section in the game where Central City switches the NPCs around, and one of the NPCs is a Wendigomon. He actually does not leave the game permanently. If you go to the sewers, again in the present version of Central City, you can find him and he sells various materials used for crafting purposes. He's really easy to miss, and I thought it was cool that he's actually down here. So make sure if you're missing any materials that you need, you go talk to him. He might just have what you're looking for. So when it comes to de-digivolving and digivolving, I always get questions about when is the best time to do this, and there isn't really a right or wrong answer. Keep in mind your bond is what determines how many times you could pass over bonus stats. So if your bond's at 100, you can do this 100 times. Also of note is that loading passes over bonus stats as long as you're not level 99. So you're not really going to be in a situation where you run out of the ability to pass bonus stats over and your Digimon gets locked out of max stats, because even then you could still use the Digifarm. That being said, your talent is also tied to your max level. So a good time to de-digivolve your Digimon is if you've already reached that max level. There's no point in continuing being in that stage. De-digivolving it will allow you to get its bonus stats in, which may allow you to digivolve further the next time you reach around that level. If you reach max level and you can digivolve, obviously do that. That's going to increase your talent as well. But if you can't, definitely de-digivolve at that point. If you're trying to get like absolutely the most amount of bonus stats per de-digivolve, technically you could go all the way up to level 99 and then de-digivolve from there. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just de-digivolve when your Digimon seems to be hitting a ceiling in terms of its power or its level, and you should be fine. So at the very end of the game, there is a gauntlet that you can go through, which allows you to fight the Olympus 12. And when you do so, you get a 5% scan on all of them. Now, I went over a similar tip in my Chaosdramon video, but if you set the difficulty of the game to story and lose the battle on purpose, you can then retry it in invincible mode and basically let the game play for you and scan all of them at 100%. Now, keep in mind, this is going to take a really long time, but if you're lazy and want to like kind of AFK it, you can start the battle, go do some chores or whatever, come back when it's done, rinse and repeat. You're going to have to do it 20 times to scan them. It's a really slow way of doing it, but you can get a free set of Olympus 12 pretty easily that way. Okay, so another tip regarding the Digifarm, and this might seem like an odd tip, but I see so many people complaining about the Digifarm, justifiably so, because of the lack of an evolution menu, making it annoying to like check for personalities. Honestly, before you go in, if you're going to be shifting a lot of personalities, write down what you're going to do. In order to fill up my field guide, I actually had to write down a bunch of different Digimon that I wanted to Digivolve using the personality Digivolution method, where if your personality matches up with the Digivolution in question, it'll actually cost less stat requirements, which is actually faster than like leveling everything up. But anyways, my point is, unless they add some sort of patch to the game that makes this easier, the Digifarm can be a little bit clunky with menus and stuff like that. So if you have a lot of different things you need to do, write it down before you go in. Otherwise, you're going to have to come back out, go back in, come back out, and it just becomes a big thing. Finally, last but not least, this is a tip for you guys playing on Mega and Mega Plus difficulty. Please create backup saves before major battles. Mega Plus is insanely difficult even if you have max stats, and a lot of enemies are going to require you to specifically prepare for them. So if you go into a battle and you're not prepared, you might lose, and you have a couple options when you lose. It's either to reload a save, which most of the time the game will autosave at an optimal time for you, or you'll have to retry with the same team, which again, if you have to prepare specifically for each battle, that's not really feasible. Maybe you just kind of went in with a bad setup. Having a lot of backup saves during Mega Plus will also allow you to go back if you've gotten past a certain choke point in which you maybe should have gotten something that would have helped with a future battle. So make sure you're doing a lot of manual saving during Mega Plus difficulty. I do want to make a video talking about how difficult Mega Plus is soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, those were 10 more tips and tricks for Digimon Story Time Stranger. At this point, I've completely filled out my field guide. I've put, I think, over 80 hours in the game at this point. Keep in mind, I work full time and have kids and a family to take care of. And I'm very happy with the compendium of guides we have so far. I still have a few more guides to create, and the Digimon Story Time Stranger content is not stopping anytime soon. We're going to have DLCs for the next year. I want to talk about some critiques of the game. I also want to make videos sort of showcasing other monster taming games that Digimon Story Time Stranger fans might enjoy. So definitely subscribe to the channel, because as a channel that covers monster taming and has been doing this for 6 years at this point, Digimon's a pretty integral franchise and something that I cover quite frequently. Also, just wanted to say special thanks to my supporters, especially Candy Marunci, Tragsoft, Valorware, Nemo, and Wrathful Beast, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.